All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here. We might have some people trickling in a little bit late as it is definitely raining. And then we are recording this meeting just so everybody's aware. Oh, hey, I should probably change that so we don't finish this. Perfect. Sorry, I was monitoring the YouTube stream to make sure it was working. Okay, so as you probably all saw from the video clip, we are looking at the possibility of taking a music department trip to Nashville over spring break. And definitely would love to have as many people as would like to go on that trip. We'd love to have them for sure. I guess I feel like I don't necessarily need to repeat the stuff that we talked about on the first video. So let me jump into some of the other stuff. We do have a critical mass of 40 people. We do have to have 40 people sign up to go. And once we hit 40, then we can move forward with the trip. Hopefully you had a chance to look over this. You kind of know what is involved with the trip. What I want to get into tonight was two things: how the trip was going to work as far as safety and chaperones and things of that nature. And then also talk a little bit about some fundraising stuff and the money part of it, and into that a little bit more in detail. Our goal is that we have one chaperone for every 4 students. And that chaperone is assigned to those students for the trip. And they just get to hang out during this trip time. I am always overly protective, only because I always approach it from the fact of, if someone was taking my children somewhere and it was farther away than I could get to easily to help them, I want to know that they're absolutely safe the whole time. And so that's always been the direction that I've gone with this, to the point that one chaperone for the 4 kids, and those 4 kids stay in the room together. In the middle of the night, somebody needs a drink, somebody needs ice. They don't walk to the ice machine and get it. They call the chaperone. The chaperone comes to the room, grabs them, walks them to the ice machine, and walks them back. And it's not that we expect the kids to do anything wrong. It's more that we know that a lot of us have students who've never really done a whole lot outside of Thomasville, and they just don't understand the risks. They don't understand what could happen. They don't understand how to be safe in those situations. And so we want to put parents with the students at all times. And we have Dollywood as part of what's on our itinerary. We don't do all right, it's at the entrance of the gate. All right, y'all, we'll see you in 4 hours. It is, while we're here at Dollywood, the 4 of you are going to stay together with your chaperone. And you guys are going to do the rides together. You guys are going to eat together. You're going to do all those different kinds of things. Mr. Schwett, you're such a jerk. I really am. I really am. But if you're a parent staying at home, you know your kid's being taken care of. You know that there's somebody watching out for them, particularly for those of us that might be sending students who are younger or students who don't have a whole lot of experience on their own. We do allow chaperones to swap kids, meaning that Mr. Danaher and I both have a group of 4. Abby's in my group of 4. Abby wants to hang out with that group. We can do that as a swap. And we know where they are, and we have each other's telephone number. We can still get a hold of them, but somebody's always there. But it doesn't mean that they can't hang out with different groups of friends throughout the week, but they are always chaperoned. That's just the way that we move it. And that's the way that we do it. But it's always worked out, and kids always have a great time in the end. But that is just to let you know that kind of safety is what we are really, really into for the whole trip as we move through these things. And there was something else I was going to go with, and I completely forgot what it was. So I'm going to jump to, that's what it was. If you are willing to sign up as a chaperone, and we'd love to have you, this $1,100 price here is based on quad occupancy. But there's 4 chaperones in a room. I'm a little bit too old to be sharing a bed with another grown man, and I'm sure he's a wonderful person, but I want my own bed because I'm nasty and I just don't want to share that with anybody else. But if you decide as a chaperone, hey, we want to do 2 people in a room instead of 4, they do up charges for that. We don't have the exact numbers because we don't know the exact hotel yet. but just be kind of aware and know ahead of time that they do charge a little bit more for people that want to do that. If I want to go and I'm bringing my child, can we have our own room? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can stay with your child, but again, the $1,100 price point is based on 4 people in a room. If it's you and your child and that's 2, well, then the cost for both of you would go up, if that makes sense. Or there's 3 of us, the cost would go up a little bit. So we just need to be aware of those types of things as well.
T-shirts.
We are going to do, yeah. And now this $1,100 does include, everybody gets 2 T-shirts, everybody gets 2 polo shirts that we'll wear on the trip. And again, that's just ease of making, helping us stay together as a group. We don't get a lot of obnoxious T-shirts, but it is easy to see there's a group of blue shirts. Okay, I know where I'm at. I know where I should be, and it's easy to stay together. And oftentimes students like, it's nice to have it after the end of the trip. I went to Tennessee and I got this T-shirt. You know, I mean, they're nice mementos that we have too, but it definitely helps us. And it helps us we don't have to deal with any dress code issues. Not that all of us don't know how to dress, but every once in a while we'll have a student who forgets. Oh, hey, put your T-shirt on. No problems. And we're set. And we are going to a symphony concert. And we have some other things we're going to. So we'll make sure we're wearing the polos on those days. So we look dressy enough to be respectful of wherever we are. But we're not asking students to take too many things or anything of that nature. That was the other part I wanted to go into. We talked about the 40 people being the critical mass. At that point, we can keep the $1,100 price point. Anything above 40, we can keep the $1,100 price point because we're in, as you can imagine, the bus, whether there's 2 people sitting on that bus or 50 people sitting on the bus costs the same amount. So 40 is our critical mass that we have to hit. Along with that, we do have several performances set up, possibilities while we're there. That's also a critical mass issue of if we get the right instrumentation for a band to play, we'll have the band play. If we get the right instrumentation for the orchestra to play, the orchestra will play. If we get the right amount of singers signed up, the choir will sing. Now our performances, we blend them together. So the choir sings with the band and the orchestra, and we all play together. We each, choir sings this song, band plays this, orchestra plays this. All 3 of us do a combined number, choir and orchestra. So we put it together that all the students are performing. But I'm just trying to say it out front. If we have 3 people sign up for chorus and 70 people sign up for band, which would never happen. But at that point, the band perform, the choir might not. And it's not, but just so that you're aware of what these different things could look like at that moment. Okay, so that's kind of the stuff I didn't go over necessarily in the video that I made. The other big issue is that $1,100 price point. And that's a lot of money. Period. Doesn't matter what you're getting, it's a lot of money. But we do believe that we have a pretty value-packed trip. That $1,100 does include the travel there. It includes the 4 hotel nights. It includes breakfast and dinner every day. We always put that in there because lunch is on your own. But if your child gets there and decides that they really have to have this souvenir and they spend all their money, they're still going to get to eat the rest of the week, or they lose their wallet or whatever it is. We're still going to make sure that they are eating and they have plenty to eat throughout there. It does include the entrance to it. What am I trying to say? The ticket prices to everywhere that we're going. All those things will be taken care of up front. So the only thing they have to bring their money for is lunch and the souvenirs. Thank you. Souvenirs. It's the only thing you have to bring money for. And this company, we've always traveled with this company. They're incredible. They always get tons and tons of food for breakfast and dinner. And a lot of students end up not even needing lunch because the breakfast buffets are all you can eat. And the dinners have tons and tons of food. So we try to keep it where it's going to be right at that $1,100. That's what you're dealing with, and that's it. As you can imagine, the company that's taking us is putting down a lot of money up front to make these deposits to lock in these prices, which is why we have to have these kind of things, payment plans and cancellation penalties. So we're going to ask for everyone that's going to go to put down $100 by 9/23, by September 23rd. That gives us enough money in the bank to be able to sign the contract with this company. So the company can lock in all their prices and we can make the deposit at that point. And then the rest of these payment plans up here in this section are the days that we need to have that money from you so that we can turn around and make the deposits with the company. So they know that we're definitely coming and that they can start putting out that money. Obviously, once they put down certain deposits, once they pay for certain things, those are non-refundable, which is why the cancellation penalties are here. If you decide on November 2nd that your family is not going to be able to do this anymore, we would refund whatever you've paid minus $200 because we can't get that money back. If your family decides on December 4th that it's not possible to go, we refund all of your money minus $400 because that's money that we've already spent on the trip that we can't get back. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm not trying to be cutthroat. I'm not trying to get blood out of a turnip. I'm just being honest with y'all. That's just what these mean, and that's what they are. So I want everybody to know up front. But this is the payment plan that we're looking at to make sure that we get the money in before the dates that we have to cancel. First fundraiser that we have coming up right now for the whole music program is, of course, the mattress sale in 2 weeks from Saturday. And so we'd like to take that, whatever your student raises in that mattress fundraiser, that they can take that and put it straight towards the trip. So that will be money they can go. And of course, they raise money by giving out the referrals. And the more people that you get to come in, if they happen to buy a mattress, they make money. Your student gets that money. And we'll take that and apply it towards their trip. And we'll, of course, keep you abreast of what that is as often as possible. Beyond that, we do have a candle fundraiser. With that candle fundraiser, we have to use that for the operating costs of our program because those costs didn't go away. We still have to use that. So we still have to buy music. We still have to do our music performance assessment, entry fees. We still have to make all those things happen. So the candle fundraiser, we won't be able to take and put towards this. However, if anyone who's interested in this trip and they plan on going would like to help organize fundraisers, we're all in to have someone who'd be willing to do that for the trip. And I'm going to organize these fundraisers for the trip. Great. And we'll get that information to you as soon as we can about what that is. And we'll definitely work with those fundraising people and get that information out to you and talk about things that we've seen in the past that have worked really well and things that haven't. I can tell you over the years of doing these trips, and of course, all of a sudden it's been 5 years since we've gone on a trip, but before that, we're doing them every 2 years. We found that, unfortunately, the best fundraiser was the letter writing campaign to grandmas, aunts, uncles, all those kind of things to say, hey, would you help sponsor one of my payment plans? Would you take care of my November payment, whatever it was. But oftentimes that's really what got people the most money from any kind of fundraiser. All the other things, they make $100 here, make $50 there, and that helps. But rarely were those any kind of selling fundraiser or anything of that nature. Was it significant amounts of money to be made on those? That's just the reality of what it is. Okay, I've talked a lot and kind of gone over the big things that I wanted to hit. Would you, and I want to open the floor up so you guys can ask questions, or would you rather have me go more in detail on the itinerary? But I assume that you all probably saw this with the video that came out, the link to it. I don't want to waste anybody's time. What questions do you have for me? What concerns do you have for me? Yes, ma'am. Every 2 years, we were going every 2 years. And that's really our goal, that we'd like to keep that going. We did pick Nashville this year because it's a cheaper trip, because it's a bus. In the past, we've gone to New York, we've gone to Chicago, we've gone to Boston. And as the economy recovers and we all get back after the issues we've had with COVID, we'd like to try to do those again. But that's why we went with the cheaper trip this time. I think, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. So it's a little bit more affordable. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So we had 40 people sign up. All right, we're going. And then all of a sudden we're at 39. You know what? I'll ask. We've never actually flirted with that critical mass. We've always doubled in the past. I don't know where we are today. We've never gotten even close to that. And sometimes people have kind of jumped on. Like we've said, somebody, I've got to cancel, but we have this empty spot. Before I tell the company, I open up to the kids. In the past, someone's gone, hey, I want to jump in that spot. So we haven't run into that issue, but I'll make sure I'm aware of that before we do it. 100%, especially because we're not taking an airline. Since we're getting on a bus, we can do that. Airline, I think it was a month out that we had to trim those in, but yeah, we're in good shape on that.
Minimum of 40 participants per bus. So you've got divided by the 1,100 person per bus.
Right.
So does that mean start 40? Do you have to have 80 for the next bus?
That's we're going to talk about it, but it needs to be something close to that. If we end up, so these are 55 passenger buses. If we end up with 60 people, we'll have to figure out exactly what that means. And they've gotten quotes from bus companies, but that's all a little bit because they said, well, do you want 45 passenger buses or 55 passenger buses or 40 passenger buses? So sometimes the bus companies can work with us a little bit too, that way and give us a smaller bus. So we'll kind of work our way through that for sure. And I, in all honesty, I've never done a bus trip. We've always flown in the past. So this will be a new experience for me too. And so what we're going to do is we have a form that we're going to send out tonight after the meeting, a Google form. It's an interest form. Yes, we're interested. We're planning on putting that down the deposit. And at that point, once we see that, and that tells us if we can move forward. If we have 20 people that say they're interested, well, then we know, hey, we don't have to mess with it. We'll have a better idea. We're not going to sign anything with the company until we get everybody's $100 deposit in. Because a lot of us will say, oh yeah, I'm in. And then reality of hits and we're like, oh, wait a minute. But once we start putting some skin in the game, the $100 sitting out there, it's like, okay, now we're really serious. We're ready to go for real. We know we can do this. So we'll wait a little bit on it. Yes, ma'am. So I believe that. Right. Okay. So we're talking to our treasurer. They're going to go to the boosters. So right now we can take cash. But we're working on setting up PayPal to be able to do that, or pay with a credit card is what I should say. But of course, as we all know, as soon as you pay with a credit card, this $100 payment turns into $105. I don't know. I'm making up a number. Right. So it gets a little bit more for those fees. If you can, that'd be great. And what we're going to do is set up times. And thank you for bringing that up. I meant to bring that up. There's going to be a lot of money going through. So we're going to try to have people set up to take money from parents at marching band practice nights or possibly after school times, that people can come in and just say, hey, and make it to an adult, as opposed to giving it to your child the night before and praying to God that it magically gets to school and gets in the safe. And as a parent of 4, I feel that. Right. So we're going to try to set up times that parents can come in and deposit to other adults. It's going to be the goal. Good questions. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
There's a financial security that you were explain it.
Financial security as described in our $2 million policy. And I completely forgot to look up what that was. But this is the one that's the insurance. That if God forbid, we shut down again, we can get our money back. If there's something of that nature, then we get that money back. I believe, and I'll check on that to make absolutely sure of that. But that's what we were describing, and that's what they were talking about. But I'll find out for sure.
So I did a little math. About 8 grown-ups, like 32 students. So how many teachers have admitted or?
All three of us are going. All three of us are going.
So, or, like, chaperone.
Well, we would love to not be chaperoning. And I'm saying that as going on trips that with chaperone and without. The reality is, as soon as we chaperone, we can't move to all the groups. And a lot of kids like, well, we never see Mr. Schwent. And if then there's an issue, one time we had a girl get sick and we had to take her back to the hotel. So now Ms. Zahn's, and that was, you had a group that year, Ms. Zahn's group is stuck going back to the hotel because Ms. Zahn had to go back to the hotel to stay with a student who didn't feel well. That was it. That's right. That's right. That's the one. Right. So we try not to chaperone only so that we are available to help individual students, and whatever group we're chaperoning doesn't get stuck with us. Right. Because then we missed all the fun stuff now. And so we try not to do that. We don't want to miss fun stuff either, but we'd rather have just one of us miss instead of the whole group. And in all honesty, every trip we've ever gone on, we've always had more chaperones than we had spots for. We always had extra people. So we'd love to have them. Great questions, y'all. These are good. These are things I should have thought of and I didn't. Y'all are awesome. What other questions do you have for me? What other things y'all want to talk about?
Be a chaperone, you have to be a certified volunteer, whatever.
Great question. Answer is yes, you do. Since we're not going till spring break, there's plenty of time, but it is unfortunate that you have to go down to the school board during their hours to do it, because they have to fingerprint you there. As many of you know, our THS music booster president worked for the sheriff's department, and he was an active sheriff, and they still made him go take that fingerprint. So that it just is what it is. We're in a world of CYA, and so that's what it is. Last time I heard it was still free. Has anybody heard anything different? Still free, which is awesome. It used to be 65, 7, whatever it was before. Okay, a whole bunch of numbers, whatever it was, it's free. So that part's good. But yes, that's a great point. We do have to be certified volunteers. That's a great point.
Mr. Schwinn, the hours for the school board for that are 8 to 4.
Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
8 to 4, right when we're all in the middle of work.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, y'all, but that is what it is. That's what they do. Great question, though. Yes, sir. We definitely can in this room. We can do a straw poll, but then I know there's a lot of people watching the live stream, and I know that there's other people that are doing that, but yeah, I think so too. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I keep forgetting I need to repeat these questions for the people I'm watching the live stream. Hopefully they're picking up some of them. Okay, what else? These are good points, y'all. Good points. What else? What company did you say? Was it the Marriott family?
Marriott.
Oh, the Hiltons. So one of the Hiltons. That's another reason we really like this company, is they have great relationships and they always put us in really nice hotels. We're not staying in a motel. We're not going to Super 8. We're not doing that kind of stuff. Even though personally I'm fine with it. But right? I know. But these are always really nice hotels. These are nice hotels.
We have some questions in the chat,
Okay, cool. Questions from the chat. Ooh, that's a lot of people in the chat.
and I'm sorry, because you probably answered this. Does it mean if you cancel before November 1st, you get all your money back?
That's right. That's what, yeah. And I'll confirm that, but yes, cancel before November 1st, you do get your money back.
And the cost for parent and child is $1,100.
That's correct.
Sorry.
Cost for parent and child both, it's exactly the same, $1,100.
So with the mattress fundraiser, if my family buys a new mattress for, let's say, $500, how much money goes towards the student trips?
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that question, because I haven't seen that. If I saw the breakdown, I don't remember it. I don't remember it.
Is there a bathroom on the bus?
No, there is not. And I don't care if there's a little door in the back of the room. There is not about, no. There, right?
There are rules.
They're usually our buses, they're usually our bathrooms on the bus. We've all been there, right? But this company's really good. And anytime we do trips, we're really good about hitting rest areas. We definitely frequent rest areas quite a bit. And then I think that the itinerary even talked about stopping for breakfast on the way. Yeah, so we'll definitely make sure we take bathroom stops, but yes, there is a bathroom on the bus.
There is a Buc-ee's.
We may have stopped at Buc-ee's. Greatest place on earth. Okay, what else? These are great questions, y'all. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if 40 is critical mass of the 1100, let's say if we double it, will that price drop?
It won't. It won't. Yeah, because
Well,
we just,
yeah, I mean,
but you're right. Like if we went to 54, build up a bus, that price is really not going to move a whole lot. It's not going to move. I'm just going to say that it's not going to move. That's where we're going to keep it. Okay, what else? These are great questions, y'all. Great questions. Yes, Ms. Zahn's going to text out, email those survey for, or Mr. And if you, once you fill that form out and get it back to us, and we'll keep you all up to date. Hey, y'all, right now it looks like we have 6 people. We're a go. Hey, we're at 40. We're going to wait and see we're out on deposits. Hey, we've got 80. This is going to be great. So we'll kind of, once you sign up, we'll keep you apprised of where we are. We won't leave you sitting in the dark. And we'll definitely know before September 23rd for sure, if what numbers we've had to volunteer. Yes.
how are the groups formed for the chaperone?
Kids pick their own groups. And then we try to put parents with their own student, unless the student comes to us and says, please don't let my mom chaperone my group. I'm just saying.
And we have phone numbers of the parents.
Yes. Yes. It's never been an issue. I can't give out phone numbers of other parents. However, once you find out who the chaperone is, if that chaperone is not comfortable, every time we've gone, every kid had the number of that chaperone and the parents at home have the number of that chaperone. It's never been an issue. If it does become one, we'll find a way to do a workaround with that. We'll make sure that happens. So you can constantly get in contact with who you need to get in contact with. Sure.
My older family lives in Nashville,
Yes.
so considering staying and then picking this up, do we have to ride home on the bus?
You do not. You do not. You don't have to ride there, nor do you have to ride back. However, we can't adjust the price of your, I know you didn't ask, but I was just saying, you didn't ask. I can't adjust that, but yeah, you can definitely go. It really sounds like the bell.
That was
Woo! That's a late detention, man. Okay, so yeah, no, that'd be great. Absolutely great. Great question. We get those. There's a way they do it through the school that they sign into us. We have a parent. In the past, we've just always had a nurse. I can't guarantee that we're gonna have a nurse this time, but there's one parent who's in charge of all the medication. That parent that's holding all the medication is in contact with the parent giving the medication of the child who needs the medication. That child goes and checks in with that parent and gets the medication each time.
So I know in the past, when you had meds during the day, they had to have a doctor who's known to be at school, but he doesn't have meds now. So if you only have nighttime meds, do I have to give a note for you guys to take his meds?
If it doesn't cause ridiculously undue hardship, I would say do it to protect yourself. Only because then if somebody accuses, oh, this kid was taking, no, we have a doctor's note. And you can say, no, the doctor's note. It just covers everybody. So I don't know that there's an official rule that says that. However, let's just go and say we're going to try to do that no matter what if we possibly can. So
So the office get paperwork before the trip. and
I'll find out.
hand it off.
I'll find out. Let me get, that's a great question that I need to do more research on. Again, last time we went was 5 years ago and the rules I'm sure have changed. Awesome. So oftentimes that's what we do with that kind of thing. And I promise I'll come back. Sorry, and that's something I said before. I didn't say before, and I want to say it now. I talked about being a big jerk and that students always stay with the chaperones and there's always adult supervision with all the students. That's also to protect your children. I didn't say that. The last thing I want to do is have somebody come to me and say, oh, by the way, Emma Schultz was doing blah, 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 blah on the trip. If Emma's unsupervised and it's just, hey, see you all in 4 hours, I can't defend Emma. But if there's a parent with Emma, I can say, oh no, her chaperone was there and they were with the chaperone the whole time. That wasn't her. That's happened in, we've had, and if it's come up in hotels, that we're not the only group there. There's another group that was noisy. They tried to come to us and say that it was our group, run up down the halls and said, no, it wasn't. And we have proof that it wasn't. Because said, nope, our kids are chaperoned. And we have people that we I didn't even talk about that. Parents, when you go and you're all about to cancel your rooms right now, but parents, we do ask that every parent sign up for a 2-hour shift at some point in the middle of the night. Yeah, we ask and yes, we take shifts too. We take shifts, but we just sit outside in the hallway for 2 hours at some point. I'm usually the 12 to 2 guy. You're the 2 to 4, and Mr. Rohr will be the 4 to 6. Who knows? But we ask to sit out in the hallway. And again, it is to protect our kids because some of our kids are dumb. And so if they know that there's a chaperone sitting right outside that door, they're not as likely to try something dumb. And if the hotel comes up and say, your kids were, we say, no, they weren't. We were sitting down here watching. They've always been appreciative. And every trip we've ever gone on, I think we've always gotten a letter from the hotel thanking us because of the group that was there. And they were shocked that a high school traveling group could act and behave in that at that level. So that's just one of those things. It protects us and it protects your kids. And so that's part of the reason we do that as well. Yes, I'm sorry. You had a question and I asked, yes. Yeah, inhalers, obviously, students keep with them, but even Tylenol, all the over-the-counter stuff, best to give it to the nurse, and again, it protects your child. Oh, you had 2 of them. Was that?
Like participate with the group.
I'll ask. I'm not sure, but I'll find out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm coming. I promise. Because that's our hand. No, she. Right. I'm sorry, but I'm coming. I have to ask. Okay, well, I'll ask and I'll find out. The rules change so often and they change differently that I don't know. I'll find out. The school board said no. Okay, and I'll ask.
You might try this here, but last year they wouldn't let us.
Okay,
If maybe you got,
we'll ask. Rules are always fluid. And like you said, it's high school versus middle school. And we're paying for this out of the boosters. It's not coming out of internal accounts. So all kinds of things. Who knows what we can do? I don't know if it's particularly certain, but any documentation from a doctor that says this student needs an inhaler, then if somebody says, oh, Brian would, say, no, this is doctor, he's good, he can have that. And there's just no questions. So it's just, I would put it in. Great questions, y'all. Great questions. All right. We're going to hang out for a little bit. They're the smart ones, so ask them. But they said I was the best looking band director named Ian Schwen at this school, so they wanted me in front of the camera. So that's why that happened. I'm just saying. So anyway, thank you all for coming out this evening. We'll get that form out to you all right away. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us and ask. We'll do the best we can to answer them.